Hey, what's up everybody? And this is the weekly gaming news show where I talk about the latest news in the gaming industry. I know I've been away for a few weeks with the holidays and Christmas and everything and New Year's, and I hope everyone had a great holidays. And I will be back every week, every Monday, except for this episode, which probably will be released on Tuesday depending on when I get it done. But every Monday morning, you will have a new weekly gaming show where I talk about all the latest news. And I've had a new setup here. Just wanted to get a little more personal with all the stuff that I have behind me. And I will be again releasing this every Monday, and I'll talk about latest news. I'll talk about some games that you can look into playing for cheap and just a bunch of different stuff. So I'm excited to start making these again. If you are new to this channel and you enjoy this video, make sure to subscribe and like this video and share it around with your friends. So let's get into the news. So if you're from my generation, you'll remember Nintendo Power as a magazine. It was a beloved magazine. It came out every month and it had such great content. And if you want to check out new stuff for Nintendo, you would buy Nintendo Power magazine and you'd read it. Well, it is back, but it is in the form of a podcast now. So Chris Slate, who is the former editor-in-chief at Nintendo Power, will be hosting the podcast. In this podcast, in this first episode, he interviewed the producer and director of Breath of the Wild. He also talked to Kit Ellis, who is a YouTuber who does the Nintendo Minute. And he also talked to Damon Baker, who is the head of partner management for producers and developers with Nintendo. And the first episode is out, so if you want to check it out on pretty much any podcasting platform, you can go and download that and listen to it right now. Have you ever had those days where you woke up in the morning and played video games all day, lost track of time, and by the time you were done, it was dark outside and you have no idea where the day went? I've had those. I know a lot of people out there have had those as well. But the World Health Organization will now start classifying prolonged gaming as an addiction, as a mental disorder. So this is how the World Health Organization will classify this mental disorder: a pattern of persistent or recurrent gaming behavior. Traits for the disorder will include prioritizing gaming over life, interests, and daily activities, and continuation or escalation of gaming despite the occurrence of negative consequence. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't consider myself an addicted gamer. I play games all the time. I love playing video games, just the way that I enjoy intaking media. But I would say that you could say the exact same thing to someone who watches TV all the time, or someone who takes part in another form of entertainment for hours on end. I don't really think it's a disorder, as long as it's not really affecting your life. I mean, anything you do that affects your life in a negative way could be considered a mental disorder in some sense. So, but they will be classifying this, and I would love to know what you guys think. Do you think that gaming is an addiction if you play too many games, and do you think that it has a really big negative effect on your life or the life of someone that you know? So if you remember, before GTA 5 came out, there was a leak of its release date, and this was from a retailer in Europe that leaked the release date, and now they've done the same thing with Red Dead Redemption 2. So now we know that we will most likely be getting Red Dead Redemption in the summer of 2018, more specifically June 8th, 2018. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm super excited for this game. Red Dead Redemption, the first one, was probably one of my favorite games of all time, and this one's going to be obviously even better. Any games released by Rockstar are pretty much amazing, so I'm super excited for this. June 8th is still a while away, but now we can get even more excited and get more hype for this game to come out. So Nintendo had planned to release 64GB cartridges, and the reason for this was because there are many publishers out there, many developers who are creating games that were way too big for the maximum 32GB carts currently available on the Nintendo Switch. So basically, these developers would have to put some of the game on the cart, and then you'd have a mandatory download if you went out and bought the game physically. And these developers would also have to go and purchase the carts directly from Nintendo at a cost, and it comes pricey because you have the choice to buy 16GB carts or 32GB carts. And if you buy 16, obviously you can buy more, and then you'll be able to put out more games for a cheaper cost, and then forcing consumers to go out and download the rest. So publishers and developers were getting excited that they're going to be releasing a 64GB cart, because as we know, 64GB for a Nintendo Switch game will most likely be more than enough for the majority of games. Now these carts, Nintendo has said, have been delayed probably until 2019 because they want to sort out technical issues with them. And this could have a little bit of effect on the amount of games that come out for the Nintendo Switch. This could move release date targets to further dates. This could get publishers or developers thinking to themselves that, well, we don't want to spend all that money on these carts through Nintendo, so let's not waste our time and release it on the Nintendo Switch, knowing that they'll have more than enough sales on other consoles. So it's interesting that Nintendo has delayed it. For the consumer, obviously it's a lot better when you can just buy the game, not have to do an external download, because if you're buying a physical game, you don't want to download the game onto your system or an SD card. the point of buying the physical game is to have it all there on the cart. So it's been delayed until 2019 supposedly, and maybe they'll revert back and get these issues sorted out and they'll be released earlier. But right now that isn't great news for the Nintendo Switch in a year that has pretty much been amazing for the Switch. There hasn't been really any bad news at all. This is a little bit of bad news just before the year ends. So I'm gonna end this video on a pretty sad note, something that I'm sure you've heard about. Everybody has been talking about it. But a 28-year-old man passed away last week from a swatting hoax, where a 25-year-old man, Tyler Barris, has now been arrested in relation to this hoax. And basically what had happened was, over a competitive Call of Duty match, players on the same team started fighting, and one of the players gave a fake address daring someone to swat him. So he gave a fake address to someone on his team, and then that member sent this address to Tyler Barris, who is a professional swatter, I guess, if that's what you call it. That's what he does, and he's a hacker. And he swatted that address. Unfortunately, the address that he swatted was not of the person in the Call of Duty match. So the cops came to the door because they thought there was a hostage situation. The 28-year-old man opened the door and the cop shot him and killed him. So it's really sad to think about, because this guy had absolutely nothing to do with this Call of Duty game, had nothing to do with video games in general. And even if he did, it's still sad that these things still occur. But he was just at home minding his own business and he got killed by the cops because of this swatting hoax. It's just sad because these swatting hoaxes are just absolutely crazy, that people still, that we do these things to other humans. It's absurd. And it's just sad that someone had to die because of a hoax or a prank that is just not even a hoax or a prank. Anyway, I'm sure there's been talked about all over YouTube, all over the internet, and I just had to mention it because it is a pretty big news item. It is very sad that this happened. There's actually an interview with the person who did the swatting on Drama Alert. Keemstar interviewed him, and it's just sad. This guy had no remorse about really what he did, or didn't want to take any responsibility for the death. The situation is sad. He has been arrested, and we'll see what happens in the end, what he gets charged with, and how long his sentence or how long his punishment will be for this swatting hoax. So one of the new things that I want to talk about every week is about a game that I'm playing that is either free or is really cheap, and something that, because I know that not everyone can afford to buy that $60 game every time it comes out for new releases, and there's so many good games out there for really low cost or for free. So the game I'm playing this week that I've had a lot of fun with is Dead Island Retro Revenge. Basically, it is a beat 'em up where you're on rails and you're continuously running, and you have different attacks and different power-ups, and you try to get different combos as you get through the stages, and every stage gets progressively harder. It actually starts off relatively challenging, so it is a really fun game, and it's something that you can kind of just play kind of mindlessly, but it is really fun in getting those combos and trying to defeat enemies in certain ways to increase your maximum score and to increase your combos. I will leave a link in the description below of where you can buy it on Steam, on Xbox One, on PS4. It was cheap. I bought it for $2.98, so if you're interested in that game, make sure to check it out. So it's that time of the month again where PlayStation releases their PS Plus games and Xbox releases their games at Gold. Here are the free games you'll be getting this month. For PS4, Deus Ex Mankind Divided, Batman, the Telltale series, Starblood Arena, and That's You. Now those are all great games, even the PSVR game Starblood Arena. I can't wait to try that out. It looks like a fun game. Batman, Telltale series, and Deus Ex, both great games. That's You, I have no idea what that is, but I will check it out and see. For PS3, you have Sacred 3 and Book of Unwritten Tales 2. And for PS Vita, you have Psychopaths, Mandatory Happiness, and Uncanny Valley. Now for games with Gold this January, you will be getting The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing 3, Zombie, Tomb Raider Underworld, and Army of Two. Again, 4 great games that are going to be fun to play through, and they're free, so it's all gravy. Usually I'll go over the big game releases coming up every single week. This week there really isn't anything worth noting, nothing huge coming out, but next week there will be a bunch of new stuff coming out, so stay tuned for that. So that's your weekly gaming news video for this week. If you like this video, make sure to like it, subscribe, share it around, and I will be creating more of these videos every single week. I will be releasing them on Monday, like I said, except for this week, obviously, because of the holidays. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.